What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the Life as Huncho YouTube channel. It's your boy, the one and only Hugh Huncho on the mic today. And as you can see by the title, we will be talking about how to learn from your mistakes, right? And learning from adversity, in a sense. It's kind of going to be a continuation from one of our previous videos where it talked about you're destined to fail. And I want you to really understand that failure is not the same thing as temporary defeat. Right? A lot of times we're kind of hit with either setbacks, adversity, trials, challenges, or tribulations, things that in the heat of the moment might seem, life-threatening, our world is ending, or we're not able to pursue or reach our goals like how we can or how we should. But in reality, a lot of these moments aren't really failure. It's just something known as temporary defeat, where sometimes you might need to take a step back, right? Take 2 steps back to leap 10 steps forward. You always heard that quote, a minor setback for a major comeback, right? A lot of times when you're faced with defeat, you don't want to think, this is it, right? This is failure for me. You want to actually think positively, right? You almost want to kind of smile at the trials and tribulations. And the reason why is because when you start thinking positively, you start actually thinking of solutions and ways out of your situation. If you think negative, pessimistic, if you think woe is me, or that this is it, this is all that you can do, you're never going to be able to really use your critical thinking skills, right? Your problem solving skills to figure out the best way out of your situation, right? If you think negative, you're never in a positive headspace where you can actually think about the solutions, think about the workarounds, right? The way to actually achieve and hit your goals, right? And get to wherever you're trying to get at. I don't know if you ever had this experience, right? Where something happens and it's almost like it was meant to happen in a way. And what do I mean by this is that when it's happening, in the heat of the moment, you might not fully understand why it's happening. But then when you take a moment and you sit and you think about the whole situation, you think about how you got to this point, you start realizing all the missteps or the things that you could have done differently to not get into this position. That position or that situation probably happened to you so you could take that moment to think and see all the mistakes that you made so you can learn from those things. We've always had that moment where we're thinking, and we get that thought, we get that voice in our head that says, oh, you could have done this. Or if you are running through some kind of roadblock or some kind of challenge, you get that thought of inspiration on a way to kind of fix that situation. We all know this thing called writer's block, right? Where you're trying to think about something, you're trying to write something, you're trying to work on this project, and then it almost feels like there's a blank, there's no creativity there. What happens when you just stop working and you just go about your day, you do something else, or you go take a shower? It's almost like that thought of inspiration almost hits you like lightning because you didn't quit on what you were doing. You just took a break, understanding that this moment was just some temporary defeat. It wasn't failure. You're still thinking about the solution. You're still thinking about the problem. And the universe, right, God, infinite intelligence, they almost kind of gift you with some kind of idea, some kind of inspiration to figure out a solution for your problem. But now if you get writer's block and then you just quit, you just give up on the project, you stop thinking about it entirely, you just move on to something else. Now you have to kind of start over from scratch, and you're still going to face adversity. You're still going to face trials, challenges, and tribulations, even in a new industry or doing something new. What you need to do is you need to stay where you're at or whatever you're doing. Don't see it as failure, but see it as some kind of obstacle for you to climb, for you to get over it. That's going to make you better. That's actually going to improve you, right? You want to always keep going. You want to always keep moving forward and never quit. Because when you quit, that could have been the moment where your breakthrough was about to happen. You could be 3 feet from gold the entire time, right? And never know it. For my people who might not understand or know that analogy, what 3 feet from gold is, it's a book about this insurance agent, right? Who was living around don't quote me on it, but I believe it was like the 1800s or like the early 18 or 1900s when California and Nevada had this big gold rush, right? They had this big gold rush. A lot of people were mining for gold, right, at that time. This actually even segues into another quote. It says, when there's a gold rush, you don't be the person mining the gold, you're the person selling the tools. And the reason why is because there was a lot of people who were moving out to California to go find gold. So what they were doing, they were spending a lot of money buying the equipment to go find gold. So many people went out there and were digging for days, months, years trying to find gold, and they couldn't find anything. This insurance agent, right, who became an insurance agent later on in life, what he did was that he was mining, looking for gold. He was looking for gold for months, if not a whole year, and he was never able to find anything. So what he did is that he sold his equipment to somebody else, and then he gave up on his goal on trying to mine and find gold there, right? He gave up, moved to the other side of the country, started doing insurance sales. He became a multi-millionaire from insurance sales. And the reason why is because he learned a lesson in that situation that happened. What happened was when he gave his mining equipment to this person, right, when he sold it to that person, what they did is that they spent a little bit of money and they bought they hired a scientist or an archaeologist, and that person kind of looked at the land, looked at the areas of land, he looked at historical facts, and he realized that the person who sold him the mining equipment, the insurance agent, he was mining in the right place, and he was 3 feet away from digging up the largest pool of gold that the entire West Coast has ever seen. That person that he sold the mining equipment to, he started digging, and within 2 hours, he found the gold that this person who was mining for years didn't discover. The person who sold the mining equipment, he eventually heard about the story. He saw the newspaper. You see, hey, this is the guy that I sold my mining equipment to. He was able to discover it when I was 3 feet away from gold. He took that learning, he took that life lesson, he learned from it, and then when he got into insurance sales, he never quit. He never stopped dialing because he always realized you are 1 phone call away from your biggest sale. Just like how you're 3 feet away from gold, right? Take that lesson and really resonate it with you the next time you think about quitting, the next time you think that you're set with this major, failure or setback. There's something probably in that situation that's trying to teach you something, right? There's always a silver lining in a lot of situations that we're in. There's always some kind of seed for success in every setback or failure that we've ever experienced. Any bad relationship, any bad business deal, any bad job you've had, if you take a step back and you kind of look at it for what it is, you might learn something from that situation. That's how you actually learn from adversity. And when challenges and hard things come your way, you almost start smiling because you start realizing this is an opportunity for you to grow. This is an opportunity for you to learn something. And just like how that setback might take you 3 feet back, but then if you really have that gusto about yourself, right? If you really stay consistent, you really push yourself and you really stay the course, that 3 feet step back might be what you need to leap 20 feet ahead. If you think about it, a rubber band can't launch forward until it actually is pulled back, right? And a lot of times when we're hit with adversity, when we're hit with trials and tribulations, that's really the universe giving you an opportunity to take a step back and try and reevaluate things. Try and think of or see things from a different perspective. That's the universe literally trying to change your way of thinking, because if you got to where you're at now, that means something that you've been doing it the wrong way. And this failure, this setback is a way to maybe kind of readjust or remind you of the proper way or other ways of doing things. There's plenty of ways of skinning a cat. You don't need to skin this cat though. You don't need to skin it this type of way. Maybe that's what the universe is trying to show you. So you got to take that moment and be like, okay, what is the learning lesson in this situation? How can I benefit from this situation? And what is this situation trying to teach me? The moment you start asking those questions, that's when you start getting the answers to those questions, instead of thinking, oh man, why did this happen? Oh man, why am I put in this situation without knowing? A lot of times people, they're finessed into bad deals, right? They're finessed into getting more debt or bad credit cards, things with higher interest rate, right? If you just accept the failure, if you just accept the L, the loss, how it is, and you just try and move on, you never learn something from it. You got to take a step back, evaluate the situation, try and really think, where did it start? Where were you in the middle of the situation, where you are now, and what could you have done at one point to change it? And now you know the next time you run with that situation, it's not going to happen. I'll give you a prime example for me. I'm a person, I went to school for business, finance, and economics. I know a lot about personal finance, how to make your money work for itself, and how to save money, how to increase the money that you have. I somehow end up getting into a bad deal with a car, where now I'm paying a lot more interest than I wanted. This is my first time ever financing a car. I usually would just always buy my cars out cash, right? And the reason why is because I would work very hard, make a lot of money. My parents, they come from outside the United States. They've always told me never do anything with credit, loans, financing, things of that nature. My parents didn't even have a credit card until I told them to get a credit card. Good credit score, don't ask me how, but they never even owned a credit card until I already was 22 years of age. Think about that. They came to America when I was 20. That means for 20 years they've been living in the United States without a credit card. That fear of getting finessed is the reason why, right? Getting a credit card with a high interest rate, or getting a loan with a high interest rate, getting a house with a high interest rate, whatever the case may be. Because that interest, not only is it on top of whatever you took out, but they're adding interest on top of the balance, right? So I never financed a car before. Somehow I ended up financing a car because I needed a car at the time, right? Nice car, really good car. But after a year of making payments, I don't see my balance change at all. And I'm wondering why. And the reason why is because that interest rate, the interest rate is not calculated on the total amount of the loan, right? Within the time span of 3, 4, 7 years, whatever it is. That is an annual interest rate for whatever your balance is per year, right? So if it's a $20,000 loan, you have 10% interest, they take $2,000, they divide it by 12 months, and then they add that on top of your monthly payment. That's why a lot of people have car loans, right? They've been financing their car for 6, 7, 8, 10 plus years, and they still haven't fully paid it off. Is the reason why is because that minimum payment that they told you to make, that's not covering the interest that they're robbing you from the back end. A situation that I never experienced, I've never been in, but now that I went through that situation, now that I know how it works, now the next time I'm ready to go buy a car, I know to be on my P's and Q's. I know how to calculate everything. I know not to, not to settle for this car, get this model, or make a bigger down payment, or whatever the case may be. Now I know how to handle myself in that situation because I was in that situation before and I took an L. But I didn't let that L defeat me. I didn't let that L claim it as a failure. I just seen that L as a learning lesson. And that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. I know that there's a lot of tough situations out there. People are going through really tough times, hard situations for sure. But I promise you, you just got to take a moment, think positive, think optimistic, and I guarantee you there's some kind of lesson in that situation. For sure. And with that being said, if you haven't checked out my last video, check it out here, right? Please like, subscribe, comment, share this video out to as many people as you can. A lot of great information, a lot of great sauce is going to be continuously coming on a daily and weekly basis. Follow me on Instagram at HughHuncho, right? And let's get this comment section active, man, right? Drop some comments and some videos, some other topics and things you want me to talk about. And until the next video, I'm your host, HughHuncho, and I'm out.